My name's John Nergy. I'm with the City of Brooklyn Park, and I'm going to be showing how we use GIS to power running a citywide garage sale in our community. Quick show of hands. Are there any other cities here that run an annual garage sale? Okay, well, if you don't, then think of this as running a large decentralized community event instead. Also, maybe you'll run a garage sale after this. So just a little bit of background. So we have an annual garage sale in Brooklyn Park. We've been holding that since, I think 2013 might have been the first year. It's very popular. We always have over 130, the last few years, we have over 130 sales register. It's in May, but basically January 1 of that year, we start getting phone calls about when's registration going to open. So it's very popular in our city. We make a map packet in-house. So I'll show what that looks like. So we have a paper packet that we provide. Garage sailing can be a very low tech event. People like to kind of plan ahead. I know my wife is a big garage sailor. Being able to like circle and kind of plan your attack strategy and stuff like that and know when sales are open. It's a serious business thing. Over the years, we've also used various online apps via ArcGIS. So I was even trying to think, it was like Local Perspective, an app templates that don't exist anymore. We used to use, then we used Web App Builder for a bit, and then the last couple of years we've used Experience Builder, and then we use Survey123 for the registration. So I'll demo all of this stuff too, but I just have a few slides first to kind of talk about the process. Yes, currently using Experience Builder. So we used to use a different platform, non-spatial. People would register, and then I would get those registrations, geocode them, and then I'd have to fix a bunch of addresses because there was no verification happening. So Survey123 is really nice because we have that address type question. People can't register unless they provide us with an address we can verify, and they can't register unless it's a Brooklyn Park address, because we would randomly get like, I don't know if anybody from like City of Rogers is here, but we'd get people like way out, like registering for a sale. I don't know what they were doing, but they would register. But basically collect the information and then use Microsoft Power Automate to send them an email receipt, basically saying, hey, thanks for registering. This is confirmation we received it. And then along with providing them with more information in there, giving them a custom link using the global ID that was created for that sale so that they can go in and update the information. So I think this last year we had like 150 sales register, and at least 25 of them went in and either made changes or canceled their sale. People are registering a couple months ahead of time, plans change and stuff, and we want to make sure that we're making it as easy as possible for people to update the information. Like, their uncle gave them a boat, and now they want to sell that. They can go in and advertise that, and people really do buy stuff that big at sales. It's, like I said, it's a thing. In between, when the actual like official app goes live and we're still collecting registrations, we have just a sidebar instant app in ArcGIS Online where people can see where signups are happening. This was something that participants asked for multiple years, is they wanted to be able to look and see where are people signing up for sales so they can decide whether or not to participate. So if they see a lot of activity in their neighborhood, they could do that. If they don't see so much, either they might not, or they might reach out to their neighbors. One enhancement I want to do for this for next year is add a search bar so people can type their address in and then use a little bit of arcade to tell them how many sales are happening near them. Give them some tips to be like, if it's under a certain threshold, be like, talk to your neighbors, or if it's above one, be like, you should participate, kind of thing. So a little bit of marketing involved in that. And then again, I'll show all of this stuff. Internet's cooperating today so far, so I'll show this stuff live too. But we have a packet that we produce. We work with our graphic designers. So we make the maps and lists, and then they put a lot of the framing and stuff around it to make it look pretty and professional, which is a really nice partnership to have for an event like this. We print off hundreds of these, and they pretty much all go out the door. They're really popular. And then Experience Builder for when people are actually out in the events, being able to filter, to be able to search by what day is it. So we do the typical Thursday, Friday, Saturday. There's people who want us to do it Wednesdays too. We're not gonna, but they ask. and then being able to filter for specific items that you're looking for. And again, I'll kind of show that app. So I'm not going to go through this whole process today because this is a 15-minute presentation. It might actually be 18 minutes. Sorry about that, but we are on time before I came up here. But basically, so we're using a combination of Survey123, Power Automate, which City of Eagan, I believe at our last session, did a really great demo on that. It's really, really useful. If you have Office 365, you likely have Power Automate unless your IT locked it down. If so, bug them and have them unlock it. Tell them Brooklyn Park sent you. No. It's a really basic one. It's literally, it's a one-step thing, which is when the response is submitted, send an email. That's all it does. There's really, really powerful things you can do with that. So we email the requester. That includes a link to update the sale. That particular one is built in Survey123 Connect so that we can edit the existing feature layer versus the web designer really lets you target new feature layers. And then we are sharing the info online through ArcGIS Online. We've got some feature layer views so that we're making sure that, you know, when people register, they give us contact information. So the feature layer views strip those fields out so that nobody can spelunk our ArcGIS Online site and collect contact information, because that'd be a big no-no. And then we're doing the paper Mac packets in ArcGIS Pro, and then also using Excel to put together the tables. So that's kind of just the whole flow. But let me switch over now to my browser. Cool. So I'm viewing in preview mode because right now, if you tried to go to the survey, it's closed because, you know, the sale's not happening. But we have some basic information here for the paper packet. We have a cutoff date because we need time to produce that. So we advertise that to let people know you have to sign up by a certain date if you want to be in the paper packet. But we do accept late entries, so you can basically sign up and be on the online app as long as you want, which is another nice thing with Survey123 is we're just looking at that feature layer. So if we have late entries, it's fine. We don't charge anything for the sale. We used to charge like $10 to cover, people could buy sale signs that are like branded and they have a spot to put your sale number and stuff. Now we just make it free, and if people want, they can buy the signs. So everybody's happy that it's free. So it starts by asking for your information, which I'll just fill some stuff out here so I can get through the form. The people that I work with to run the sale really do want the phone numbers. I think this could be optional. But Survey123 has nice questions to do verification and stuff like that for those. We have a couple of marketing-based questions to ask whether or not it's the first year that they've participated in the sale or not. We always have a good mix of people who it is their first time as well as repeat. And then, of course, not too many people say unsure, but just so they don't get stuck. Sometimes people really can't remember. You know, how did they hear about it? And then they go to next. And then here's our address question. So in Survey123, by default, it will use whatever locators you set up under your utility services, but you can also add a locator as an item. And so that's what we chose to do because we didn't want to use the World Geocoding Service and all that kind of stuff because it gets really confusing for anybody who's in a first or second ring around Minneapolis. I'm guessing sometimes when people type your address and it says Minneapolis, it's really annoying. So for this, we have our own address point locator that we make from Hennepin County's address points. So all it does is it gives them the address. If they try to go forward without verifying, it's not going to let them. So that's a nice point. I don't think this year we had anybody reach out saying, "Hey, I'm trying to fill out." Actually, no, we had like one person, and they just couldn't. They just couldn't type their address, so we got it figured out for them. And then we have, you know, so Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we can ask what days they're going to be open. If they click yes, we'll ask them for the times. We have some default times set because typically it's 8 to 5 is what we see. But this way people can change those if they want to. That was an issue we fixed is we get lots of people who'd say like, we'll be open at 8 and they don't tell us when they're closed. And then we have to reach out to them and be like, it's not a 24-hour sale, right? Like when are you closing? But they can fill that information out. And then here's where we're asking different kinds of items. And we'll see in the Experience Builder app, the reason we're asking for sale items this way is because then we can set up filters and we don't have to worry about how people spell stuff because that gets horrible. besides typos like household versus H-hold versus, you know, plates, like it just goes all over the place. So people can select types of items they're selling, but then they also have the option to, if they want to, type in a like more of a sale blurb. So like big multifamily sale, moving sale. We've got a boat. We're selling motorcycles. We've got designer purses. There's a woman who every year sells a bunch of designer purses, kind of thing. So they can plug that in. We have a couple of open houses that our community engagement team runs for people if they want to get tips for how to run a sale and stuff like that. So they can let us know then. And then because they have those emails, we can then straight out of Survey 123, we can pull the list of emails of people who were interested in those events and specifically reach out to them. Then you hit submit. And then what you receive is an email that just says, hey, thank you for signing up. For more information, yeah, Amanda, I know you remember. Amanda was our intern in 2017, so 7 years later, that sale still happens. A link to our garage sale page. We chose for updating the location, we have them just email me. It's our garage sale admin is me. You can change the location of points in Survey 123 Connect or doing an update survey. We thought like that's a little more complicated. So just if you need to change the location, you can contact us. No one's ever actually contacted me to change the location. But then here's the link where if they wanted to update or cancel the sale, they can click on that. So this is opening up a survey we built in Survey 123 Connect, and it's just passing the global ID. And that's really nice then because all of the information for that record then gets pulled into the survey. So instead of having to specify which fields, the global ID basically just brings everything from that record. Let me jump back here quickly to the design. The one question you didn't see is the very first question is sales status. It's hidden and it's set to active. So basically every new sale registration, we have a field to determine like, is the sale actually happening or not? So that when they go to update, we can tell them, yes, we know you're having the sale. If they need to cancel, that'll update that status. And then in our feature layer views, we have a filter. So any of those canceled ones will not show up in the maps. And then if they click next, that just goes and makes them feel guilty. But then if they click, they're still having their sale, then you can see they can click next. And that's where the global ID is pulling in all their information. So they can basically just review it, update whatever they want, hit submit. They can use that link as many times as they want. And that's where we were able to see, looking at the edit date on the records, we can see how many people went and made changes after the record was originally created. So that's kind of the registration process. Let me go back to the email here and I'll open up the event page on our website, which it's just the same page so this URL changes, but we have a short link that's just brooklynpark.org/garage sale. This is where they can register. Right now, the registration will show it's closed. Between now and next year, we'll take that off and we'll change this text to say when registration is going to open, information about the signs, the open houses, and then here's where we've got links to download the packets and browse the online app. And then we have a bunch of locations around the city that people can pick up the packets. And a lot of times we put these things out a couple weeks before the event, and sometimes we have to do reprints because locations run out. We know that, I will usually go during the sales and visit some of the sales to just get feedback from people. It's a great way to get resident feedback because they're literally trapped in their garages. Like they can't leave. So they can be like, hey, I'm from the city and stuff. So that's really awesome. But like we get feedback, like people grab multiple packets so they can hand them out. Like it's a really nice just community event where people are meeting each other. They're visiting areas of the city they don't necessarily live in. It's a really cool like event. That's why we run it as a government. It seems like kind of like, why is the government running a garage sale? But it's to get residents talking and meeting each other and making connections. So I can get past my sharing thing here. Oh, you moved. How dare you? Okay, we'll get there. So this is the paper packet that we produce. So we basically make this top map, and then our graphic designers design everything else around it. We divide the city into zones. they're loosely based on our neighborhoods, and then we just move them around a little bit each year if we need to, because we try to get no more than like 25 sales in each zone, because that's what fits nicely on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. That's really the only reason. But what we produce then in Pro is we have, for each zone, we have a map that we produce that shows the locations. I use a really advanced method of numbering the sales called manual. I've tried doing it with like use the zones and use the latitude and longitude and move from the north. It just doesn't work. So if anybody has a better idea, I would love to hear it. Otherwise, I just literally go through and go, okay, this is okay, 1, 2, 3. Like I drive the streets in my head while I number them. It takes like a half an hour. It's not too bad. But so we number the sales, and then here in the packet, then they can see each sale listed out when they're open. And then here's where you can see some of those blurbs, and it's nice and small, I know, but you can see some of the text that people choose to write, along with, if they just listed certain items like household adult clothes. Like these are coming from the multiple select versus here's the purse sale. It's always in zone 1. But that's nice because it gives people the opportunity to advertise a sale that they want to. And then, I haven't actually gone to the sale, and if I did, I can't say that I could tell you the difference between a knockoff and a real one. So yeah, there you go. It's a product compatible. Yeah. Here's besides purses. Okay, here's the Experience Builder app. So we just have a home page where people can filter by day, and then they can choose what are they looking for, click find sales, and then that switches them over to the map, and then we filter it. One thing I don't like about this is that we do a lot of formatting with Arcade to make these results look nice, but because of that, we can't use the list widget in Experience Builder, which I would much rather do, but Arcade within Experience Builder is crap. So it's fine. We make do. So we use the feature details widget instead, because that just reads your configuration from the web map. So we can do stuff like make sure the times are formatted nicely. If Saturday doesn't have times, we can have it just say closed and stuff like that. And then we have a link to get directions, which just opens up in Google Maps if you were on your phone, and it's then a 1-click and it gives you the driving directions right away. This is what I use when I'm out like touring garage sales, and I'm biased, of course, because I built the app, but we get good feedback about it. And you can go back to search options and stuff like that. One of the other nice things about Experience Builder, searching the wrong thing because I'm saying a word. Okay, garage sale is, so we haven't like taken the app offline at this point just because people aren't really looking. But again, between now and next January, I have a different homepage in Experience Builder that just lets them know, like, check back for more information. So all I'd have to do in Experience Builder is say, make this my new homepage. And because there's no site navigation or anything like that, this is effectively now the app. So if people have saved the link or whatever, we don't have to publish a new app next year. We can basically just change what the app looks like. And then when we're ready to go live, all I have to do is hit the home page. You can see I've already started to update the dates and stuff like that. But that's pretty slick. And then lastly, yeah, I don't want to save. If we go to the content, so you can kind of just see the content that's been created. So we have the form, we have the instant app for just the signups, a couple of custom feature layer views. One is for the Experience Builder, where it's all the information except for the name and the email. So we're not exposing those publicly. The signups view doesn't include any of the actual stuff that people are selling, because at that point, we tell people you're allowed to change it. So we don't want to be giving people sneak peeks. If you ever gone garage sailing, there's such a thing as, they're called early birds. They show up before the open times to try to get the stuff early. And a lot of people don't like early birds, but anyway. But yeah, so on the back end, it's pretty much all ArcGIS Online driven. There's a few things, but then the nice thing is, like come next year, we have on the feature layer views, I just need to update the filter to say only show records that were created January 2025 or later. So there's no rebuild involved. We basically just have to make sure we replace the 2024 with 2025 and the dates, and we're basically ready to go live next year. So even though there's a little bit of setup to get started, going forward, it's really great. The URLs never change, that kind of stuff. So you don't have to worry about people who bookmarked it. You don't have to update the web page. It's always good to double check, of course, but in theory, you don't have to update stuff. So it works pretty slick. So yeah, like I talked about, tips and tricks for planning any kind of community events this way, being able to use those feature layer views to filter those is really nice. It's also nice too, because then all of your data is stored in one place. So if you want to run a report and see like how many did we have for different time frames, that's really easy to export to Excel and do whatever you want with it. Make sure mobile friendly is a must. So when you looked at the desktop, it looks pretty silly as big as it is. When you look at it on a phone, it looks a lot nicer. And that is the primary place we're assuming people are going to use this, is when they're out in their cars and they're looking information up. So we do optimize that for mobile viewing. And sometimes the desktop looks a little silly, and we could go and customize it, but we don't, because it's used for 2 weeks a year. So we also try not to put too much into there. And then ask for feedback. So we do a feedback survey after. We've got everybody who registered, we have their email. So we send that out. We only get 20% of people will actually respond, but getting feedback from people about, hey, how could we improve this for next year? Are there items that we could update? How is the registration process for any type of event? That's really, really important. And because we're collecting that information in Survey 123, that makes it really easy to then build another Survey 123 and get that feedback from people. So that's how we run it. Again, I think that this would translate really well to other large community events. There's a lot of similarities with stuff like National Night Out or Night to Unite. Anything else where it's a bunch of events happening around the city at the same point in time.